On a seemingly normal day, a group of 4 people gathered their film equipment and ventured deep into the forest, ready to uncover the secrets hidden in an abandoned house. As darkness consumed the area, 2 of them climbed the house's rotting steps, their night cameras capturing every creak and shadow. The other 2 stayed behind, glued to their monitors, their breath shallow as they tracked all their friends' every movement. Inside, the pair moved cautiously, hand in hand, their hearts pounding like war drums. The air felt heavy. It felt so suffocating, as if the house itself was alive. Room by room they searched, finding only silence, until a little sound broke through. A low, heart-wrenching sob echoed from the kitchen hall. They froze, their heads snapping towards the noise. With trembling hands, they pointed their cameras to the darkened doorway. Something moved. It's quite swift, so unnatural movement, a blur of white darting past their eyes. Determined to uncover the truth though, they stepped into the kitchen, their phones ran a spirit detection app. A chilling voice crackled through the static of the phone. It said, "Jangan datang. Do not come." The warning felt like a knife to their courage, but because they had so much adrenaline running, it blinded them to fear. So instead, what they did was they went deeper into the house. But that is when they heard laughter, low, mocking, and closer to them than they could even bear. It wasn't just coming from the app anymore, it was coming from inside the room. So the camera swung, and there she stood within the camera, a figure with long, tangled hair loomed at the edge of the shadows. Her face is covered, but she is unmistakably there. Terror seized them. They bolted, they ran, adrenaline turning their fear into fuel. But as they fled a house, they could hear a voice following them from behind. It said, "Where are you running?" One of them dared to glance back and instantly regretted it. There he saw her face out of the dark shadow. It looked pale, it looked twisted, almost inhuman. Her eyes locked into his eyes as if telling them, "Where are you gonna go? You're never gonna leave me." The forest swallowed them as they keep running and leaving only the haunting memory and the inescapable feeling that they hadn't actually escaped her at all, that they were still there with her, because they had just dared to visit one of the most haunted mansions in Malaysia called Villa Nabila. Content warning. This video includes description of violence, murder, death, rituals, and other supernatural content. Listener discretion is advised, as some stories may be unsettling or sensitive to certain audiences. Turn down the lights, snuggle up tight, and get ready for another Tuck Tale. What happens when the line between fact and folklore blurs? Welcome to Tuck Tales, where urban legends meet true crime and myths aren't always just stories. My name is Afrina, your host for the episode.
And my name is Diski.
And today I'm gonna take you guys to Johor Bahru to tell you the story of a mansion that had been built and abandoned decades ago. Do you know the story of Villa Nabila?
No, it's my first time hearing this story.
But there's always a lot of stories in terms of haunted houses, right?
Yeah.
Always ghost sightings and everything. So that is one of the stories that I'm going to be sharing with you. It's called Villa Nabila. A lot of people like to go to this villa to search for proof or evidence that ghosts really exist or not. So Villa Nabila is a villa or a mansion, as the name suggests. It's located on a hilltop in Johor Bahru in Malaysia. It looks visibly run down. There's always overgrown trees both outside the house and inside of the house as well in all of the rooms. And the rooms look like they suffered from burns of a violent fire. The walls looked ashy and charred with fire. But what makes it interesting is that the villa is not your typical abandoned villa. No, it is one that is surrounded with mystery, having a natural air of what happened here? Why is it abandoned? What is this villa? Countless people have reported sightings within the villa, and the mysterious history surrounding the villa captured a lot of people's attentions. Naturally, they wanted to know what happened to it. Who owned the mansion? Who sanctioned the building? Who lived here? But they were all unknown. But, of course, there were theories to what happened. One of the most commonly circulated stories is that the villa was originally owned by a wealthy family, which had named the villa Villa Nabila because their daughter was named Nabila. In the period of around 1930 to 1940, around the time the mansion was built, Nabila's father was thought to have gone through bankruptcy. He lost a lot of money. And because he lost his assets, he lost a lot of money, he actually went insane.
Oh.
He went mad, so he killed his wife in a fit of rage or outburst of anger and realized that, oh my god, I just killed my wife. So he decided to kill himself as well. And he only left his daughter alive. Being their only kin, Nabila was in line to inherit everything that her parents left for her, which wasn't really all that much because the father went through bankruptcy. She only had the house itself, the villa, and other small assets in her name. But the story goes, her maid, maybe not knowing that her family had gone bankrupt, she murdered Nabila to get her hands on the money. Maybe she didn't know that they went bankrupt, or maybe she was just happy that she would get small assets like the house. She murdered Nabila, and she even went further than that, and she tried to hide her body and cemented it into the walls of the mansion. By doing this, she was thought to have trapped Nabila's soul to the mansion forever, not allowing her to go to the afterlife. Which could be why people have been reporting sightings of a child or a woman in Villa Nabila. Maybe they were looking at Nabila herself.
How old was she?
She was very young. She's less than 12 years old. There was also another version to the story that is more sinister, I think. This story has nothing to do with the father going bankrupt and killing his wife. He still had the money and stuff, and he didn't ever go insane. But instead, because they were a wealthy family, it had been rumored that a relative who had been jealous of their money and their up-and-coming story, they hired 2 hitmen to bestow violence upon Nabila's family.
Oh my god.
So the 2 hitmen, they went into the home, and the family home was robbed completely. The criminals then murdered Nabila's parents in their own house. And before moving on to murdering Nabila, where they didn't just murder her, but they raped her. And to hide her body is the same story as the maid, that they cemented her body into the walls of the house. Same as the first version, her soul was never allowed to rest. There is a third and last version to this story. It goes almost the same, where the family finds themselves all murdered, but the culprit was actually Nabila's own stepmother.
She has a stepmother?
In this story, yes, she has a stepmother, but the outcome always stays the same, that Nabila is left haunting the mansion for eternity. As the history of the villa is shrouded in an air of mystery, nobody really knows which version is the true version, if it is even true at all, right? But people have reported sightings of a woman in the house when they go to visit, which is now considered a famous Malaysian haunted house. A lot of people have actually stepped into Villa Nabila to see the sightings and whether or not the rumors were true, and most of them did come out of the villa unscathed. They were not hurt, they were not injured, nothing happened to them, save with a lot of horror stories that they brought out. But there was one particular incident that a group went inside the villa and did experience some bizarre things that happened to them. So on the night of 16th November 2013, a group of 23 thrill-seeking teenagers decided to enter Villa Nabila for some fun. Teenagers, right? They always enter houses.
Yeah.
But this is a big group. It's 23
Yeah,
people.
that's really big.
As an infamous haunted site, they thought they'd either not find anything, not see anything, or if there is something there, they could find out what it is. Either way, what they didn't know was that their event would send shockwaves through the country, bringing their news nationwide coverage.
Really?
Their story went on the news.
Wow.
So what happened was, on that night, one by one, they stepped inside the Villa Nabila, darkness surrounding them in every corner of the mansion. There was no light. But as they explored further, they felt a sense of dread. They felt like they shouldn't really be there, like something is wrong. Because of the darkness, they relied on the torchlights of their handphones to see what is happening in the house, and to which one of them really did see something. A glimpse of a small figure that appeared to resemble a child ran past his vision, while just footsteps away. And another one in the group, supposedly after seeing something that spooked her, that really, really scared her, she started screaming, she started panicking, and then she collapsed. And that is when everything just went wild. Everyone started panicking, everyone is
Really?
screaming, and the group disbanded, and some of them left the mansion immediately. They didn't want anything to do with it. But a couple of them did take responsibility for the girl who collapsed, so they carried her out of the mansion and they brought her to a mosque. And they told the people at the mosque what happened and what they did and everything. Such naughty kids, right? And the mosque, after hearing the story, they came with a revelation. By going inside the Villa Nabila, they said that it allowed a spirit or an entity to attach itself to the girl. So she would need some set of rituals to be done and to be performed to be able to heal her and to get the spirit like detached from the girl's body. So that's what they did. But after a few days after the event, one of the mothers of the boys actually noticed that her son didn't come home.
Really?
There was one boy missing, and they only noticed after a few days. His name was Muhammad Izzat Izzuddin Hussein, who was thought to be missing after he went to the villa. And after a few days, his mother filed a police report for his disappearance. 3 days later, after an intense manhunt, and they even brought canine dogs to search the villa and see where this boy was, the mysterious disappearance was finally solved. He was found in the Fletcher Pearl village in Bandar Dato On, but also there were several versions to his story. No one really knows what happened to him and why he was missing for a few days, only to be found somewhere else. Some reports in the news said that after he visited Villa Nabila, after the chaos and he ran out of the villa, knowing that he would get scolded for coming back home late at night, he instead went to his girlfriend's house to sleep
Oh,
there
I see.
for a few days
Mhm.
without telling his mom because he was really scared. But an interviewer went to interview the mom and the son, and they said that it wasn't exactly what happened. He said that after he left the villa, he somehow forgot his way home.
Oh my
Like he was
God.
walking and he didn't realize, like, where am I supposed to go? I don't know where my house is. And it's so weird because he knows that area.
Yeah, it's so weird.
He lives in that area. And he said he felt lost and he felt as though he was being led by his consciousness to somewhere far more dark. Like something was guiding him somewhere
Oh,
else.
that's so scary.
And he was in a fit of a blur. For those few days, he really didn't know where he was going, what he was doing. He said that he felt like he was possessed. But halfway through his journey, a man offered to help the boy and invited the boy to the house to stay for a few days until he regained his sense. Now, there is no further reports on this and whether or not it's true or which version is actually true. Maybe he said this because he didn't want people to know that he was at his girlfriend's house, or maybe something happened to him. We wouldn't know. But after that, the mom actually said that she was bringing her son to the mosque for some healing, for some rituals to be done.
Oh yeah.
So I'm not sure what's going on there. The police, though, they denied it. The police said there's nothing supernatural going on. Maybe to ease the public's mind, or I don't know what it is, but the police said he just didn't want to come home. It's not that deep.
Oh.
What do you think?
That's the official record
The police said that.
and the statement. Oh,
Yeah.
I think. I don't know. It's so murky.
Yeah. But there's interviews of the mom and the son, so it's like, who are you to
Who's
believe?
telling the truth?
It's a weird story, this one, but thankfully everyone and out of the 23 people that went are safe.
Oh.
So they are now safe, but it's just such a weird story. But there is another strange thing that happened surrounding the Villa Nabila. And following the popularization of the story, because this 23 people went inside the news and stuff, so two filmmakers actually, they decided to start a documentary. They wanted to see what is going on. Like maybe something is happening. And if you guys are interested, you guys can watch it on YouTube. I think it's about 1 hour, 2 hours of footage that I watched. But I will just summarize the documentary where a lot of things actually happened. But I'm just gonna take the important stuff. When the filmmakers went inside the Villa Nabila with their cameras, they actually panned on a paper that said works of demolishing was to be done. They wanted to take the house down.
Yeah.
But as they can see, everything was intact. Except for the fact that the house looked abandoned or something, it didn't look like anything happened. It didn't look like there were any demolishing works. But there was a paper that stating that demolishing is currently in works.
Oh, currently, the words.
Yeah, so it's a bit weird. So they investigated further. They were able to track down the 2 people that were assigned to the job, and they started interviewing them. To their surprise, they mentioned that the demolishing wasn't delayed because of technical difficulties, but rather they felt supernatural encounters. So they stopped it. I'll say what one of the interviewee said in Malay, but then I'll just explain a little bit what in English. So he said, semasa kami pusing keliling rumah sebab kami perlu pecahkan dinding dulu, saya nampak ada dinding berjubin yang saya rasa mudah dipecahkan. Jadi saya pecahkan lah. Tiba-tiba keluar darah dari tempat yang saya pecahkan itu. Saya pun berlari memanggil kawan-kawan saya. Apabila mereka sampai, darah tu dah tak ada.
Oh yeah. So it's like his hallucination.
Maybe his hallucination, maybe something happened. So basically, guys, one of the workers recalled breaking through a wall that's not quite cement, it's like a tiled wall, only for blood to spill out from where he struck. In shock, he ran, he went and called his friends, but by the time they arrived, the blood was gone.
It's like a scene in horror movie.
It is, right?
Yeah.
So I wonder maybe he was hallucinating, maybe something happened, but you remember the story of Nabila being buried in the walls? Yeah. So it could be
connects the dot.
So after that encounter, they all wanted to quit because they kept encountering several things like noises, and it's just some things that they weren't really comfortable with. They wanted to quit, but because their money was tight, they didn't have any money at the time, and there were no other jobs for them, they went back. Every single day they went back and they tried to demolish the house. But after a few weeks, one day they went back, and the work that they've done to demolish the house, like destroying the walls with a hammer, all their hard work, it was gone.
That's cool.
Like they haven't done any damage to the house at all.
Wow.
They were so confused because they went day by day, every single day.
If there is really a spirit there, it will be really strong to be able to do that.
Yeah. So the demolition of Villa Nabila was halted and never continued again because they were like, I did this every single day and it's just gone, you know? Now, rumors are back on circulating to talk about Izzat's case and what happened to the boy, if the boy was lying or not lying, that perhaps there were more to the story than what had been reported by the police. We don't know, right, guys? What happened with Izzat? What happened with the demolition cases? And are there really supernatural beings living in Villa Nabila? What do you think of this story?
I do believe.
You do believe?
Yeah, because like in Indonesia, we believe that if a house or mansion is empty, then there will be spirits, that kind of thing that will live there.
If the house is empty.
Yeah. And it's just like, even though it's our house and then we go to a vacation or somewhere for even 2 weeks or a few days, someone will come. The entity, they will find and look for a place for themselves.
So how do you get rid of the entity if you come home from a vacation?
Yeah, there are like stories where they have to ask for ustad or like paranormal who can do it to shoo them away, or like they just like, you know, pause and listen to doa kayak ayat kursi and etc. so that they will leave.
Can we do it ourselves?
Maybe. It's depend on how strong the spirit is and how stubborn they are.
That's interesting. I've never really heard of stories like that.
You know, because like my family moved just like a year ago, and then my bedroom was made late. The first time my bedroom is finally finished, I wasn't allowed to sleep there yet.
Why?
Because like my family needs to pray for it.
Oh.
So like to make it empty, to make negative spirit or that kind of thing leave of earth. And usually in Indonesia, if you have bought a new house or built a new house, there is always a ceremony to pray for it too.
Oh, I should keep that in mind because my house is currently being under renovation.
Oh yeah? You've never prayed for your house
No,
before?
I've never.
Oh my god, that's a must ritual in Indonesia.
And I moved so many times, right? I've never
Yeah.
done that before. But would you ever step into the Villa Nabila?
I am scared. I don't know. Maybe
can
if
go.
there are like a lot of people and we bring Ustad and paranormal who knows how to do it, then yeah,
That's
I
a
will
big
feel
crew.
safe.
A big crew just to go see a haunted
Yeah,
house.
of course.
I do want to see sometime. Not now though. Not yet.
Now.
But that's all for the story of Villa Nabila. I hope you guys find it interesting. If you're someone who loves creepy stories based on legends, just tune in to our podcast available in all podcasting platforms for episodes in English with me as your host every Friday and with Disky on Tuesdays. That's all, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.